Boom, boom, boom. Sugar Shane.
What episode?
Episode 29. 29 of these things, man.
Yeah.
Just blows my mind every day that we still get to do these and have some great people come and join us and get to hang around and have these different episodes. We greatly appreciate all the people that listen on all the different platforms between Spotify, Apple Podcasts, directly on our website, our YouTube channel. Make sure that if you are listening on that YouTube channel or any of those platforms that you're subscribing to it. But episode 29, we're going to go ahead and roll into this thing, man.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you good? We got some special guests with us on this episode. I don't know. I mean, do we call him the number 20? I mean, because that's what he ran at Salt Lake. Or I mean, we just go with Tyler, Ty. We got. What do you want to go by here?
Hey man, we'll go with T Mollet for this round. I like this.
T Mollet. Do
Mollet.
we throw a 20 on the end just for?
You know, I mean, it depends. If you want to throw in a 20 or a 201, it's whatever you like.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's Tyler Mollet 20. So
It's at 20.
20 is
Yeah.
gonna be the
Well,
word.
Tyler Mollet, Mr. Ty Mollet, and then we've got his parents here, Rob and Abby. Thank you guys for making the trip all the way here to Central Florida and the Legends Room for joining us on this episode. But man, we want to learn a little bit about you, and let the people that are listening and the followers that come along on these episodes get to know a little bit about you. And Rob and Abby, I want to talk to you guys about the life of motocross from a parent standpoint. We've never done one that has both parents on. I've talked about doing it. I actually spent some time talking with Chris Wood about it, and I think it's nice because you can learn a little bit about the real struggles of mom and dad of what they have to go through. I mean, yes, anybody that rides knows, but some levels may be a little bit different too. And this year, Ty, you got to do some different things. So we're gonna talk about all that different stuff. But I want to kind of start at the very beginning here and just learn about Ty. And from South Florida, were you born in South Florida?
Born and raised South Florida.
Born and raised. So what area of South Florida?
I think my hospital I was born in was in Jupiter, and then moved up to Port St. Lucie. And then I think when I was about 12 or 13, we moved up out of the city, get some land on us. So moved out to my friend Kylie's property. We're actually building up a house up there right now. So still in South Florida, East Coast, down by Okeechobee. So
yeah, there you go. So South Florida boy, and mom and dad, I'm going to ask you, and Rob, we'll start with you first. But when did we get any indication that there was some interest in two wheels?
Well, I never did this as a kid.
Okay.
Some of the parents, grew up doing it. I'm not one of those that did. So I always liked bikes, have fun on them as a kid, did our deal. But him, he was 3, maybe 3.5. And he had a little 12-inch little mini bike with training wheels on it.
Yep.
I watched him ride it down the road, and I was like, I think he can take the training wheels off. He was like balanced, and I told her, I was like, I'm gonna take his training wheels off. She's like, no, you're not. He's only 3. I said,
Yeah, mom's over there having a hard time.
It's before Striders, before C6.
Yeah,
We didn't have any of that.
Yeah. So anyways, long story short, took his training wheels off. He went down the road, all good, and then maybe 4. I think he was 4. We got him a P-dub.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's like the first bike of almost every.
everybody got to have a P-dub,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So yeah, got a P-dub, rode it in the fields. My work's on some acreage, thank God, and they let him ride around there for a while. We wore that thing out.
That's
and
perfect.
There, that started it off. That was it.
So you actually wore out a PW?
I say that. It was, let me
Because those things are really bulletproof.
Yeah, don't know if that's possible.
it was worn out when we got it. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
that thing was beat, man.
It was.
Yeah, that thing was beat.
Hey,
And-
you made it 2 Lorettas on that.
That thing actually
average.
got us. He got through regionals on that
Nice.
original POS
Yeah.
P-dub.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So I was gonna say my next question, but you kind of just already answered it. I was gonna ask, when did it get serious? And you're talking about going to Loretta's on a P-dub, so that's a pretty quick transition.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah. I think I was, 6, 5?
You were 7 at Loretta. You were.
AMA 6.
Yeah,
AMA 6?
he had just
Yeah.
turned, he's got not a great birthday
Right,
in July.
yeah, July.
so, but yeah, just turned 7, I think. So we were AMA 6 still there. Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty quick transition.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like a year of me. First I started off in trails for a little bit, and then it was kind of weird. I kind of went backwards. I kind of went to Loretta's on a P-dub, and then I kind of went back to FTR, and I did some trail riding on some. Wow, what did I used to have? Was it an LEM or something?
Yeah, we
had
had
an LEM.
LEMs.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
LEM 50. Rode trails on that. So, and then trails got kind of boring after like 3 or 4 years or whatever it was, and I got up to motocross. So
Well, we have this debate all the time, and Shane and I have talked about this numerous times, and I don't know, Rob and Abby, if you guys agree with this or not, but I believe off-road riding refines a rider's skills. When you can have bike control, with obstacles, woods, roots, things being thrown at you all the time, I enjoy it. Matter of fact, Ty, in your free time, when you were driving back from Salt Lake, you should have YouTubed the Munden Hill FTR hair scramble that Shane and I just did this year. Just so you know, I won.
Oh, you won, huh?
Yeah, I beat him. So
Not straight up.
it was absolutely.
I was having bike.
happened.
I was having bike issues.
Oh,
Okay.
here we go.
Let's-
Here we go.
It was straight up.
Here we go.
Tyler.
So I love the woods riding side of it, and I know you already mentioned before we started this show or this episode that you've been friends with Jack Chambers for a while.
Yep.
We've had Zach Osborne on this show before, and now he's going into the GNC side, and I just love the fact that you can mix and mingle in the off road. I think that builds a technical rider.
Yeah,
So
it's a whole different environment. It's great.
yeah,
It builds a good foundation. I agree.
that's super cool there. So you go to Loretta's there on a P-dub. Do you continue to do the Loretta's grind? Does it stay serious in the family? I mean, when is moto like, okay, we're going to really commit to this?
I think when I got on seniors on 50s, I was about 8. That's when I really started to pick up speed, I think, and I was becoming more in the top 10, top 5 on 50s, and that's when we were wondering, man, we can kind of go somewhere with this probably. So we tried for Loretta's again. I think we missed it when I was AMA 7, but when I was AMA 8, we got in. Never had really good luck with Loretta's.
Yeah.
Except the first one.
Except for the first one, P-dubs I did good. I got a 3rd on P-dubs, I think. So, but yeah, when I got on the seniors, I think I had very inconsistent moto scores. So I do good in the top 10 and then 31st or something, and then back in the top 10. So
That's a reoccurring theme at Loretta's.
yeah,
Yes.
that's pretty much every year for me.
Yeah, well, that happens to a lot of people. I mean, we had the last episode, we were on episode 28, Corey Keelan, same thing. I mean, he could go 1-3-27.
Yep.
I feel like Benny Bloss said the same story
Yeah,
too.
he did. Yeah.
Yeah, Loretta's is tough.
It
It's
is.
tough.
It is. And I know we talk about it all the time, and actually, Rob, you and I talked about this beforehand. I think it was a couple weeks ago, but, people put so much emphasis on that race.
They do.
And I try to explain to people, don't put so much pressure on one event.
It's just a race.
It's one race, and yes, it does, have national implications. I get that, but there's also others that have national implications. So, if you can do well at the majority of them, don't put so much emphasis on one of them.
Right.
Well, I think on top of your point there though is like, when you pick up a racing magazine or whatever, the week after Loretta's or the next issue that comes out, it's all Loretta's. You don't really see those. Like, it's more on our media side that emphasizes that race so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's just a big blown out deal compared to the others, and the others are just as important.
Yeah, I mean, I would say as far as amateur racing goes, you can kind of boil it down to one hand. And I mean, it really comes down to Loretta's, Minios, Spring Nationals, which Spring Nationals is split up between now Daytona, Freestone, and Springading.
Yeah.
So those 5.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, I think every other event is considered an AMA featured event. I don't think they're AMA major events. So
I think there's one in Cali, maybe Mammoth. One of those is a major. I can't
Is it a
remember
major?
which. One of the Cali ones.
Cal Classic.
Cal
Classic,
Classic or
maybe.
Mammoth.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might be.
One of those. Yeah.
But either way, I mean, it's kind of that handful. Yeah, but outside of that, I mean, I just feel like if you could be consistent across the majority of those events, then it's okay to not have a great Loretta's. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but anyway, outside of that, so keep going. We go up to senior 50s.
Yep. Past senior 50s, hopped on 65s. I think I got on 65s kind of early. I was still a little small guy. I had a late grower, but hopped on 65s. I think 10 to 11 was my year on 65s. 7 to 9, I was still getting used to them. I was doing good, just not up there. Once I got in 10 to 11, I think I won Daytona. But I wasn't training as much in 10 to 11. Maybe once a week I go out and ride. I actually took like a 3 or 4 month break before Daytona, and then I ended up winning it, and then that's when it kind of clicked. We're like, okay, we got to start riding more and to really start getting into it. So once we got off 65s, 85s. That's when we started going out to sandbox and actually training and stuff.
Yeah. Start riding a little bit more than
Yep.
once a week.
Yep.
So you've been out at Sandbox for a while.
Oh, I've been at sandbox
Not
since
really.
I was on
3 years?
2 years.
Oh, okay.
Not long.
too. Oh, I moved up bikes quick though. I was on 85s 2 years ago.
Did you ever go to the 125 route?
I
1
did
year.
for about
For
a
1
year.
year.
Oh, for 1 year?
1 year.
Okay.
Yep.
Last year, that's why I think we've been there too. I think we started on. We've been through bikes so fast, it's stupid.
Yeah.
The last 2 years. So.
What is your thoughts, Rob, on the 125 class and riding 125?
Hey, Rob, how do you like those bikes?
Okay.
Well, not necessarily the bike, but do you feel?
I want to know about the bike too.
well, and I'm good with that, but I've kind of got, it's a double-edged question, really. I mean, there's always that debate. You're talking about going from the super mini, transitioning to a big bike, but when your bike to go to is a 125 that has no real class, I mean, it does. You know, you have the schoolboy class, you have 125 classes, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to a big bike, in the first big bike class that you're going to go to try and go somewhere right now is technically the 250F. Mm-hmm. So do you feel that you wanted to go to the 125, or were you trying to get to the 250 quicker?
No, in the last 2 years, everything about what we've done is not what I had envisioned.
Oh, great. Explain.
Yeah. So super minis were always me personally, I just loved, like, I couldn't wait till we got on a super mini. Like,
right.
You know, I know they're expensive. I know whatever. I get all that. But, like, that bike to me was what I wanted to see him ride.
Yeah.
I really wanted him to go to Monster Cup. Remember they had Monster Cup, used to let super minis there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We went there on juniors because he won the KTM Challenge in Anaheim. We went to Vegas. He ended up...
We need to talk about
I
that.
hit the whole shot truck.
Yeah, we had an experience there. So wanted to go back in super minis, you know, so that was kind of my thing, but obviously I dropped Monster Cup out. But long story short, we ran 85 at Loretta 2 years ago, or 85s at Loretta's 2 years ago. Loretta's was July, August. We rode super minis we basically rode a super mini from that point to the end of the year, and then we rode a 125. So, like, we got 3-4 months of super mini, and that was basically all we got. So that was my bike exciting. The 125, I feel like, was for him necessary because he was still growing. He wasn't big enough to do a 250.
Yeah.
But once he got on a 125, he didn't really want to ride the super mini. He was too big for super mini, but probably too small for a 250.
Yeah.
You know? So I think for him it was necessary. I think it depends on the kid probably, you know?
Yeah. Well, I want to kind of remind people that are listening, technically, couldn't he still be riding a super mini right now?
Yeah, he's 15. He's still literally not even AMA. He's 15.
I could be
Like,
racing mini senior too.
Yeah. You could do mini senior 2 at Loretta's this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've already gone through the 125, and now we're on a 250.
Yes, sir.
Hey, speaking of 125s, RJ, you beat Shane riding a 125 at the Munn Hills Fair Scramble.
It was. Yeah. I rode a 98 CR 125.
Bike problems.
Bike problems. Hey, it happens.
Yeah.
So
I enjoy riding 125.
that's my answer to the bike question. We've gone through them very quickly.
Yeah.
Way quicker than I would have wanted to. Now, I couldn't get rid of that 125 fast enough.
Yeah.
That's to answer your question on how I felt about the bike.
Oh, really?
I would have absolutely preferred to keep on a super mini than that 125.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the worst one we've ever had.
What brand were you riding at that time?
Husky.
Huskies? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think it really matters on what brand it
No,
was.
I
because-
just didn't know, like, if it was a bad experience or
it's
just
just-
wearing the heck out of the thing.
I'm not saying he's easy on a bike.
Yeah.
But I mean, first crank 32 hours, then it got, like their design of the exhaust, instead of the flange of the exhaust going over the head, it goes inside. Well, it got water in it from him washing in at the thing, didn't realize it. That crank number 2 only 15 hours later, and then number 3 we were at Baja. We were at Baja. Biggest jump there. It's always the biggest jump. The tip of the spark plug breaks off, drops down in the motor, locks it up, and luckily he was good, thank God. But motor was trashed.
Yeah.
So that was motor number 3.
Yeah.
So in very short amount of time, and I just had no once I ran out of patience for that thing pretty quick. So.
Yeah,
Couldn't get rid of it fast enough.
I think the only reason why I brought that up is because I have this debate, and even with Carson, signing his deal last year with Team Green, which is an awesome team and a great for him and the opportunity, but that we're close with Drew Adams and Carson, but they don't have a 125.
Right.
So the only option for them is to go from Super Mini 1, Super Mini 2 to a 250. And that's what Drew has done. And Drew, he a little bit bigger of a boy. I mean, Ronnie's pretty tall. And I mean, he fits a 250 fine. He's riding it well and great. So I think it's for me, it's kind of one of those debates. Like, there's no real reason to stay on the 125 any longer than you need to be. So using it as a transition like you guys did, to just make a stepping stone, I see that completely. But staying down in that, that full-size chassis, as you want to call it, I just don't know. I mean, I'm sure everybody's got different opinions on it, but that's just my opinion.
I like the sound of a 125.
I prefer the two-stroke as well.
That's it. But maybe that's it. That's as far as it goes.
I mean, I know, Ty, you answer this.
They're fun to ride, but I hate racing them.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you want to go fun ride, yeah, I'll pick 125 all day. But if you're trying to race one and ride it and train on it every day, it's slow. My 112 was faster. We never had like an actual mod motor in our 125s.
Yeah.
Just because we kept blowing them up. So we ran a stock one, and my 112 was so much faster than that thing. Like, not even the same ballpark.
Yeah.
So from Pee-wees to now we're to the 125s. What are the roles at this point? Are you working on all the bikes yourself?
Every one of them. Ever since.
Still
50s.
doing this to this day.
Yes, sir.
And what's mom's doing? Because you were just at the track with your son, right?
She
Yes.
takes care of me.
I'm the practice moto mom.
Oh, okay, perfect.
I take him to practice every week. Rob's always at every race. We don't race without all three of us being together, but I work from home, so I'm able to go up to Claremont and take care of him there.
Yeah.
'Cause
How did you feel we went to the big bike?
I was ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
You
ready.
were nervous.
She was so nervous.
I'm nervous because he's, not the biggest kid, and he's up against full-grown men, and they're huge, and when they come into a corner, that part makes me a little nervous.
We got to get him on some steak and potatoes, get a little meat on those bones.
I'm trying, man.
He eats, for sure.
Yeah, it's not for lack of effort, but me and her ain't.
Yeah, he's not going to be a big kid.
I was just getting ready to say. I was just going to say, well, it's not very big parents.
Yeah, we didn't bless him with whatever.
But he
Thanks,
used
guys.
to age out of bikes. When he was little, we aged out of every bike. And then just 2 years ago, we started growing out of bikes, and we've never done that. It was the weirdest thing for us.
Yeah.
But he shot up quick.
Yeah. What do you think about working on the 4-stroke? I'm
fine with it because before we had him and when I used to do my fun, I raced cars, so I built my motors, and it's a smaller version, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not uncomfortable with it. I've done every one we've had, and that's fine. And they're honestly, like, the maintenance is much less.
Yeah.
These are easier on me.
Yeah.
This is the easiest so far of any of the bikes we've had. There's always things to fix. Don't get me wrong, but it's the best of what we've had so far.
So getting up to these 250s, I don't want to get into that just yet because you've had a pretty adventurous year traveling to a lot of different places, which I want to talk about. But from that 50 experience all the way up till where we're talking about here, transitioning into 250s, what was the highest of high? What was the lowest of low?
Lowest of low, beginning of 85s, I think. Rough year. I didn't have many good races. I wasn't enjoying the bike I was on. I had this old Yamaha 85, and I pushed that thing off the track like every day at training.
We brought back broken bikes to Rob every week. It was so sad. We brought 2, and half the time we came back with 2 broken bikes.
Yeah.
Spare radiators in the van,
Yeah,
it was rough.
Those 85s, if you tipped it over, your radiator was toast.
Yeah.
So that was a low, and then I think highs was, as much as I hated 125s, I think that was one of my peak years where I started to get eyes on me and actually notice because I did pretty good on those. So I think that was one of my best years so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so highs and lows, there we go. But then we transition over into these 250s. And like you guys have mentioned, I mean, the past 2 years maybe a little bit accelerated more than you thought as far as growing out of bikes and getting on the 250s. But you're still 15.
Yep.
So we go look at, let's just take the last year as a whole. Let's go through, when did you actually get on the 250?
What was it after Minios?
Your first, I think we did the Verb Classic, which might be in October.
Yeah.
Was his first 250 race.
Yeah, because I
I
raced 250B.
I call the first real race was Minios.
Okay.
Yeah, we just did 250B limited on that. So that was about a year ago.
How did Minios
No, that
go?
was
No,
that was 6 months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never mind.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was good. I think I was just outside the top 10. Maybe I got one. No.
Not on the 250.
Not on
You
250.
got wrecked.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh my
heat
gosh.
race was good.
Yeah,
I
good
got-
heat races.
Yeah.
I got destroyed on the start on the motocross side, and dude, that bike was a brand new bike, and subframe toast, radiator toast, cracks in my plastics, like everything was done, like it was a bunch of money.
Engine case cracked.
Engine case cracked, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 250 at Minios wasn't amazing, but it wasn't my priority, so it was okay. It was not bad.
So then going after Minios, you're at Sandbox,
Yep.
and you decide at that point, what's the plan after Minios?
I knew I was done with 125s after Minios. I'm like, I'm going to try and put on some weight. I'm going to try and get on this 250, and we're going to stay with that for a while because I guess I could say I got a head start, but I didn't want to sit back on 125s for another year or two. That's not what I like. Even now, like I tried to get on Supercross before other people and all that. So I think a head start was kind of my goal. And the more, I think I liked the 250 more, even though I was on the smaller side. So I still liked it, and I preferred training on it. It was just more smoother power for me.
So you go back to Sandbox after Minios
Back to Sandbox, yep.
and ride and train. So the next stuff coming up would have been Spring Nationals?
Yep, which was Daytona, and I ended up winning 250B Limited. So,
Yeah, got a title at Daytona.
yep, that was good.
Did you guys travel? Did you do the Texas ones?
We did not make Texas. We went somewhere else.
We did Day in the Dirt.
Yeah.
Because it was here, and our intent was to do some arena cross.
Okay.
That was what our plan was. It was we were basically headed in that direction. That's what we was trying to train for.
Did you do some?
We did. Well, we went to
One and a half.
We went to first. We went to one in Oklahoma, and just for an amateur day, just to feel it out. And it was a longer track, so we were like, "Damn, this is pretty cool." Actually, it was like a 45-second lap time. And so then we went to a real one for the pro day, and track was not amazing. I ended up just breaking my thumb in qualifying, just a tip over, just landed on it wrong, kind of. So took some weeks off, and then I went back to another one in, where was it, Virginia? No, Kentucky. Went to one in Kentucky, and actually got through qualifying and raced that, and it was good. It felt like a Supercross race because you're in a stadium and you have fans watching and you have heat race, LCQ, main event, and it was really good to introduce me into the whole Supercross thing. Like I think it was well worth it that I did one.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that used to be the road to Supercross.
Yeah.
I think it should be.
I
I
think
think
it
it
should be.
really should be.
I think it's much more relevant than
Yeah.
getting points from either Supercross at Minios. I guess I'd say that's relevant, but like Arizona Open, I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of the stuff they do the
Yeah.
points for to me doesn't
Correlate.
make sense.
Well, his Aiden qualified for what, Atlanta?
Yeah, so last year the way he did it
From WW, right?
Yeah.
and like it was a outdoor track because it rained or whatever.
I
But
remember that we were there.
Yeah, so it's like that's nowhere near Supercross. And then you throw Aiden into Salt Lake, and it's like, holy hell, like this is a legit Supercross track.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They would have done a legit Supercross track
No,
had it not
I know,
rained.
but they still run through the process.
Yeah. I
And-
think the thing for us is that, you know, with Aiden last year, he did the WW on the outdoor track because of the rain and they weren't able to ride Supercross. But then the regional for him was Atlanta, which is
Atlanta.
also a speedway and not
not
necessarily
a true, not
stadium
a
Supercross
100%
track.
Right.
Supercross. Yeah,
And then you go to the finale, which is in Salt Lake in a true stadium track. So
I'm
it's a
sure
little
there's
bit
some
different.
politics involved when it comes to like not doing the arena cross upcoming to qualify for Supercross. I'm sure there's something there, but it was a good roadmap for these
I
kids.
feel like it's a good fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well,
That's
we've
great.
always tried to do that. If there was ever a chance to get Ty in a stadium, we did it.
Yeah.
Whether it was like Arena Cross used to come to Tampa,
Yep.
we did that.
We did Futures in Tampa a long time ago.
Futures in Tampa, and that was their KTM challenge. Like, we tried to get him under the lights and with the stress of all of that, like,
Yeah.
as many times as we could.
Try and teach them a little bit about pressure.
Exactly.
Different.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then after that though, you get the title 250B limited at Daytona. You do some arena cross stuff. Then you start dabbling in the Supercross Futures.
Yeah.
So what was the first Futures race?
The first one, well, I only went to the last two because it was very hard to get a manufacturer invite.
Okay.
So I had two guys, which I'm very thankful to get me there. They ended up getting me the invite, so I ended up getting to go. And the first one I went to was in New Jersey.
Yeah. Which turned out to be a mutter for the night program.
We
But
escaped
for you,
that.
I think you were good, right?
We were good. We escaped that part, so that we got very lucky on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So how'd you do there?
It was just outside the top 10. I rode tight, bad start, typical, just not a great ride.
Yeah.
Top 10.
Let's remember first time ever on a Supercross
Yeah,
track. So
yeah. And Sandbox helped me out a lot, like to prepare for it. Like Sandbox doesn't have too many privateers. So there's, I think, Brock Pappy and Hardy Munoz and all them. They'll show up. There's like 2 or 3 of them, and then it's Ken Roxon, Shane McElrath, Chase Sexton, all of those guys.
Savachi.
Yeah, Savachi. So it's like, here I am, 15, coming in, wanting to learn Supercross, and I got to learn it with all those guys out there.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Pretty good people to learn from though.
it's like a lot of pressure, but I think it's in a good way because it kind of pushed me to do more. And like, you're like, man, I really got to do this. And I was able to watch. And the more I watched and the more I learned and the more I rode, it became more natural.
Yeah, but I'm not saying first ever Supercross time on a track, but first ever Supercross race.
Oh, yeah.
In the stadium on a real Supercross track. We're not talking arena cross. We're not talking, Supercross at Mini-O's.
Oh, yeah.
Real stadium, real track, full size. First one's New Jersey.
Yeah. Honestly, if you want me to be honest, I think I was more nervous to race arena cross than I was for that Futures race.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it kind of prepared me, honestly, in a way. I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone's nervous on race day, but
Sure.
at arena cross, I was much more nervous than I was there. So,
Yeah. So you get through New Jersey, which gives you the qualification and the
Yep.
invite to go to Salt Lake.
yeah, luckily enough, I got the invite for Salt Lake, so I made the 43-hour drive up there.
Yeah.
It was good. It was nice. I wouldn't say I'd do it again.
Yeah.
But if I have to, I will.
Yeah.
So went up there. We got to ride press day, which was pretty cool. We didn't get to ride that in Jersey. Oh, well, in Jersey it was different though, because you had to do a qualification to make sure you can race.
Yep.
Like you had to be inside 125% of the leader's lap time.
Correct.
But in Salt Lake, everyone's qualified, so you're good.
Yep.
So we did press. We did half the track, same as those cool guys, and then next day went through practice. It was very muddy, our first practice, because we were first one out.
Yep.
I was like, sick, track's gonna be so good. And then, dude, just like they soaked that track, and it was like a mud race when we came back. So, and we didn't have a pressure washer, so I had to ride with like a pretty muddy bike for qualifying. And the bike's so down on power, and I was already just adding pounds to that thing. It was just not good. But yeah, the race went well. I got not a great start, but I rode like a lot better, and I ended up making my way up to, I think it was 9th. So inside the top 10 with a lot of solid dudes. So
Yeah.
I was happy with it.
How surprised were you at that lack of power from the altitude?
Oh, dude, I felt like I was back on 125s.
Yeah.
I was like,
There's a video on our TikTok of Aiden at Salt Lake just completely casing the triple on the first time he tried it, first or second lap. I
Yeah.
mean, he just comes up. You don't think about it. You just think, oh, well, I'm at home and this is power and this is what I got to do. No.
nope. Yeah, I came up short on a bunch of things. Like, the first time I hit the triple, I barely made it. Like, it just barely greased it. And then I hit the finish line. I went deep on that thing. So I was like, I'm down on power. I got to go. And I just went so deep. I went
So now you're giving
flat.
it too much.
Yeah, and then I went too much. I'm like, all right, we're figuring it out. Finally got it down. But, yeah, I like that track more than Jersey, too.
Yeah.
Had more flow to it, I think.
All right. So,
I have a question about the program.
yep.
So, from PWs to where the point you guys are at right now, is it just you three?
Yep,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
just us.
Well, good for you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That's us.
I mean, Rob, I have to give him kudos. He is an amazing mechanic. His
Yeah.
car skills from back in the day definitely, and he's just got that brain. He's got a mechanical brain. But he also has some trust issues at times.
Yeah,
When it comes
that's
to
understandable.
other people touching his bike.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I'm very much like that. I mean, in our pit, when we were at Minio's, we had the semi and the awning there, and when the bikes are out and it's race day, I'm really weird about people being around the bikes because you don't know. I mean, it's a crazy world we live in today. I mean, anybody turns on the news, you can see what's going on.
Right.
So all you need is one of your competitors that's goofing around and messes with your bike, and you don't know it. The mechanic doesn't see it. And you go out, you have someone's life in your hands. I mean, you talked about that spark plug dropping down in the motor on the face of one of the biggest jumps there.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I've seen that turn out very badly for people. One of them, when I was helping somebody else, back in the day, his shut off on the face of a triple and both femurs. I mean, it was horrible. I mean, I've never heard someone scream like that in my life, but that's why I'm very weird about having people in our area. Even when we were at Tampa Supercross, I mean, Shane, you were with us there. Mm-hmm. We had a chain dividing where people were allowed to come in underneath the awning and stay on that side, kind of what I call the hospitality side. But then there was an area where nobody's allowed in, and that's just part of it. Now, when the racing's done, you put the bikes up, everyone wants to come hang out. Yeah, I'm all for it. I mean, I'll be right there with you. But I completely agree where you're coming from. I don't think anybody can fault you that, especially when it's your own son too. I mean,
it's not even just people. It's just like letting people work on it. Letting
Yeah.
There are a handful of
There's
people.
probably 3 people.
There's a handful of people who I trust, who I would let the bike, whatever. But for the most part, I just don't.
Yeah. Nobody can.
And I mean, he didn't bring it up, but 65s. We had a stupid thing happen with a pilot jet. Got loose, came out of the car, blocked the float up, bike ran out of fuel, ended up with a spleen, rupture from that, something stupid. But I just always dealt with them, man.
Yeah.
There's babies.
So is there any outside support for you guys as far as whether it's tires or is it?
I mean, we have the normal stuff from like Hook It, like with Dunlop discount, all that nonsense.
Okay.
Active recently helped Ty out a lot with gear and stuff like that.
Nice.
They've been and Nick's been helping them. MX Locker, like they
guys are awesome.
They definitely did. Sandbox has been good to us. Jason Baker, he definitely helps out a little bit on that side. And
Dale's been with us forever.
Dale's done our graphics and stuff for us for a long time. And then a year ago, Jason Mara from Moto Bros, they did a little program for some riders, and we were part of that. So that's been helpful on some of the nationals, like on a few of the payouts and stuff that they did. So stuff like that, but like nothing on a not a team basis or anything like that.
Right,
we've never been part of anything like that. So
as far as traveling race to race, it's just you guys traveling on your own as a family. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like when you did Salt Lake, you guys did you do that drive in the Sprinter?
Yeah.
All 3 of us, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. From your standpoint though, like mom, dad, I mean, I'm assuming you guys try to meal prep, get stuff ready, have drinks and whatever you can.
We do. I mean, we like in the van. The van's been good. We have a motorhome that we used to do a lot more with, more of the normal national, like stuff. But since we've done these trips recently, like with the few arena crosses and a couple of
they're almost like quick trips.
They're great.
Yeah.
I don't have to be gone for a week from work, and like this is what I like. It's I mean, well, Salt Lake's an exception. That was a long drive.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
And mom wants to keep him in stadiums.
I do.
You got to get him in the stadiums.
Well,
I'm with you.
She's a mess.
It's so much. I am a mess. I am a mess.
She is.
worse
I had to
than
tell
me.
her to leave.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need to go to the stands. You need to
And
get
I
out of
do
here.
try to take my nervous energy away from Ty because I don't want it to rub off.
Right.
But we also have lived in a camper for 2 years. We're in the process of trying to getting land and like build our forever home.
Yeah.
So the thought of traveling in a camper and staying in a camper at the track, that novelty has worn off.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, so a hotel bed
Yeah.
is like a toilet that we don't have to flush with our foot is very enticing.
Yeah.
So if we can stay in a hotel and just Sprinter van it,
Yeah.
that's the way to go.
Yeah.
It works.
That's what we do.
Yeah, we've kind of done the same thing too. I mean, we've done the 10 days at Loretta's, 10 days at Minio's, the Spring National 2 to 3 week long trip. And it is nice to be able to just quick trip, drive up, race, drive home.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's-
We've done Loretta's 8 times. So we've been there 8 years of the 11-day filling the water tank, filling the generator. It's a lot. It's exhausting.
Would you say that's the low part of amateur racing? Because there's highs and lows as a family.
I don't know if I would say, for me, the low is the nonstop.
Okay.
It's the no break. It's the never feeling like you can take a break. I guess that for me, it's
for like that week, or just throughout being an amateur.
Period.
Really?
Because
there's always a race.
There's either always a race or there's always a practice. So I guess if you're not, for me, because I'm doing all the maintenance on I'm doing all the stuff.
Yeah,
it's
you're 100 miles per hour.
It's either the bikes need something, or the van needs something, or the motorhome needs something, or the trailer, or whatever the case may be. Like, I'm just like a full-time. If I'm not working, I'm a full-time maintenance man. With the bikes. So,
and you have a full-time job.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I give kudos to you, man.
And long hours. I mean, I don't get home usually till
8:30.
Yeah,
It's dark out when he gets home.
Yeah, it's late. So like if I'm working out on the bikes, it's.
I think you talk about that amateur
nighttime.
schedule though. We talked about those AMA majors and the races, but when you look at them, they're spread out enough that you really can't take time off. Like, it's not like a pro season where we have an off season and time off. Like, for us, as soon as the outdoors are done, almost all the guys take a month to 6 weeks off. Usually November 1st is when a boot camp starts and they get going. That's when the tracks are ready to go. And then they hammer down until A1, you go through your season. But in the amateur world, like, even if you put Loretta's on the top pedestal of amateur racing, as soon as Loretta's is over, you got to stay consistent, get ready, because you got many of them.
Basically, well, not even that. Then they'll say you got to go to Baja. Then you got, you know what I mean? Like, they'll always put something out there that you feel like you cannot miss.
Yeah.
But for me, we got over that a long time ago. It's not, the grind for me is a constant, like, keeping this stuff going so you can keep practicing, riding, whatever. But it's, for me, it's like, I accepted a long time ago, like, I can do what we can do, and I'm good with that. Like,
right.
I can't go to Texas for 2 weeks because we're going to be at Loretta's a week, or 10 days in a few months later. I just can't do it. So, for me, I accepted it, is what it is. That's just not the race we go to, and we focus on another thing.
Well, it's hard at work when you go try and say, hey, by the way, we're going to take 5 weeks off throughout the year just for racing, and that doesn't include any family vacation, any holiday time, whether it's Christmas or Thanksgiving, which is always at Minio's anyway. But still, I mean, that's a lot, and for people to do that, I think that's one of the things. Like, when you look at some of the families and the training facilities, sometimes I just sit there. I'm like, how do they do it?
I don't know.
I don't know
because even Ty and us, like, she takes them over to Sandbox. This is 2 years we've done this, but like, they only go there. They ride mostly 2, maybe 3 days a week. Like, and the 3 is an odd for us.
Right.
When Casey was there when we first went to Sandbox, so Ty rode a lot with Casey. Well, Casey rode 4 days a week, every week. So every week we're losing, we're losing half the ride time of anybody else, basically. That's just us. But that's, again, this is what we can do.
Right.
So that's what we do.
Right.
But that's, I mean,
But it kind of gives you the feeling like, hey, we're not keeping up the pace with other people's training programs, or
and it's it makes, and as a dad and a parent, and I see Ty and talent and stuff, and you wonder, like, well, what if he has the same amount of hours on a bike as they do?
Of course.
What happens then?
Of course.
Is he as good? Is he better?
Or is he burnt out?
Or is he burnt out? That's the other question. So for him, I think it's a balance, and we're good with that. But you always got it. It's there. It's right in front of you. It's hard not to.
It's an interesting subject because everybody's story is different, and just because this person has this crazy story where they train hard and it's nonstop, and that's a cool story, but were they successful? A kid that might ride 2 days a week might end up being more successful. It's not like the be all to train all that way,
Again, that's just what works for us.
Yeah, 100%.
And even remember the episode that we had Michael Byrne on, and Burner, he has his company now, Moto Blueprint, where he's helping a lot of people. And he was one of the advocates that was like, you can get burnout by overtraining, overriding.
100%.
You do too much because you have this guilt, like, well, that guy's always going to be riding, and whatever they're doing, we need to do more. Well, not necessarily. I mean, you got to listen to your body. You have to understand science, diet, nature, nutrition. I mean, there's a lot to it. So I think finding that balance is good. But anyway, so move on from that. You just finished up Salt Lake City. That was only a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
You hopefully somewhat recovered from the drive home. What's next for Ty?
What's next? We're going to a regional in 2 weeks, the Gatorback one. We don't know if we're doing Loretta's.
Yeah.
We're on the fence. And I'm also in pro sport, so it's going to be tough to get in from that regional. It's going to be a pretty stacked regional.
Sure.
But as of right now, if we get in, we get in. If we don't, we don't.
Yeah.
And even if we get in, we don't know if we're going.
Sure.
Like we're over that. So
Yeah.
I think the next I'm gonna, ride some outdoors because I've been on Supercross for a long time.
Yeah.
Get back into the flow of that. So I think my next big national race would be Minios.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll dabble into a pro national or anything like that. I don't think, not this year. I can't even get my pro license even if I wanted to. I'm too young. So
Yeah.
I think Minios, probably go to that, and then after Minios.
The good thing about
that's it.
Minios for us though is that it's Florida.
Right there. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's one of those
Thank
things like
goodness.
if you did
Thank
have
God.
if you did have to run home, and take
Yes.
care of something, like
Yeah.
you can do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember being up there, I think it was 2 years ago, and our partner in crime in this thing, Brian, he had an issue go on at work, and he was like, "Oh man, I got a phone call. I got to go." And like he left, went home, took care of his issue, and came back up the next day. I mean, there's not many. You're not going to do that at Loretta's.
It's correct. And like she's had work a few times or a couple of times. Minios, I'll go up first. She'll meet me.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm technically supposed to be working from Florida, so it's hard for me to work. Like I can work from anywhere, but it's supposed to be in Florida.
Yeah.
So we've sat many hours, Rob and I, in the Pollo Tropical parking lot off Archer Road.
Yeah, to
in
try and get some
Gainesville, to
Wi-Fi.
Get some work done.
Yep.
You've been in.
I've had a mediation
Yes.
Zoom. I literally sat in the back of the van because she was in the front of the van. Like we couldn't talk over each other.
Yeah.
So I'm in the back of the van. I didn't change my background. And it's a moto van, so there's
Yeah.
random things hanging on the wall. And the mediator's like, "Can I ask you where you are?"
Where are you?
Sitting on a bike stand.
I was like, "Well," I try to explain it to him, and some people get it, some people don't, but whatever.
Yeah. So Ty, what are your goals as far as you go through Minios in even next year, whether you do the futures again or whether you go try and get straight into some Supercross lights? What are your goals? I mean, where do you see yourself going?
I want to be a good on top pro rider.
Yeah.
I mean, I think every kid wants to be on top in the pros, but I think I actually have the skill to do it. I'm more of a Supercross guy anyways. That's more of my riding style, more technical and stuff like that. So, yeah, I want to be on top when I'm pro. That's the goal.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Everyone's
I like
goal,
it.
but
I like your confidence. So you're like, I think I have the skills
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
That's
it's just
awesome.
about the work I put in. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Mom and Dad, you guys support that journey.
Absolutely.
We've gotten this far.
You might
We've
have
gone
to
far
trust.
enough.
You might have to trust somebody else to work on his bike though.
I'm
At some
aware-
point.
I get I'm being phased out.
it's going to happen.
I know I see what I'm up against. I can do so much for him. But, luckily, I feel good about what I was able to give him. Like, we've got a lot of how many hole shots you think you got, Ty? Like,
A lot. Yeah.
I would say even at the major races we go to, I don't think we leave away with one without a hole shot, honestly.
Yeah.
So, that makes me feel good. It's
For sure.
it's his skill. You got to have the right techniques and stuff.
But it's still your bike.
You got to have a good bike underneath.
Yeah.
So,
It's his bike.
hey, compared to what we line up against when he gets one of those, I feel pretty damn good.
That's awesome.
So,
No, I like it. Well, I want to dig in a little bit and go to more of a personal side of Ty instead of just a moto side of Ty. And Mom, maybe you can help on some of this too.
Sure.
Favorite food?
Dude.
Are you a pretty clean eater? I mean, Mom, you making him you eat
He
good
is.
and
He doesn't snack much. We're all kind of that way. We eat pretty healthy. We've just been packing on the carbs and the protein
Well, I mean,
a lot lately.
my daily routine, I pretty much wake up, I make 3 or 4 eggs, and then I either have a bagel or something with that, with peanut butter on it, whatever.
All right, so I've got to ask, just because you brought it up, how do we do the eggs?
Oh, scrambled all day, dude.
Scrambled extra cheese?
No, you don't put
No,
anything.
I've made
not
them
even salt.
so many days. I'm so tired of just putting anything on them, dude. I just eat the eggs.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
I got you.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So keep going.
Okay, yeah. So Dude, I'm a big Chipotle guy.
Oh,
you know?
here we go.
I'm one of them. I'll gladly admit I was one of them. I used to hate on it. I used to be like, dude, everyone loves Chipotle. I don't know
Every
why.
single day, lunch
dude,
with the boys. Chipotle.
Brown rice or white?
I get a burrito with no rice.
No rice.
No rice.
Oh, so you don't get a bowl. You actually eat a tortilla with
Yeah.
a big old burrito.
I'm more on the pickier side.
Double
Things.
chicken.
I get double chicken. I double wrap that thing so it don't fall apart on me. And like, dude, I would say it's one of my favorite foods. But on top is gotta be Carrabba's. They have this pasta, dude. It's this rigatoni. It's so good. I'll get that thing every day if I had to.
He can taste it in his mouth right now.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can see it.
Oh,
He's like, man, I got to eat.
Dude, it's amazing.
So it sounds like
better.
chicken,
Oh yeah,
Pasta.
chicken pasta. That's especially him over there. He's Mr. Protein. He's like,
Yeah.
if I'm eating a meal, he's like, you got chicken with that? I'm like, no. He's like, you need your protein, dude. I'm like, yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go into the next one. Favorite music.
Music.
What does the Thai top
Dude,
5
man.
playlist look like?
Dude, I've got it all. I've got my main playlist. I've got over 800 songs on that thing.
Oh,
and
wow.
I've got my rock, fire me up sometimes. It's more of an alternative kind of side, but it's pretty good. I love country. Country's great. And when I need some higher vibes, I've got some Bruno, some Katy Perry, get me fired up.
So if you go into your phone, what apps do you use to listen to music? Is it
I use
Spotify?
Spotify.
So they usually do like the end of year most played songs.
Mm-hmm.
What would that look like right now? Like who would be some of those artists?
Right now, okay, let's see. I've been into rap for a lot. It gets me so fired up. Like if I'm on cycles or something, I just blast some rap, and it gets me so fired up.
So we talking like Migos or what are we talking?
dude, I'm
Someone
into
that starts with Lil.
I'm into trap.
Any-
Like,
Lil
anything
Peep,
with
Lil
everybody-
Tecca,
yeah, everybody
Lil
named
Uzi
Lil.
Vert,
Yeah,
little, little everybody.
Anything with Lil.
yeah, pretty much anyone with Lil or I listen to a lot of alternative. Either that or rap right now. That's on my rotation. So last year I think Trippie Redd was like my top guy. So I don't know.
Trippie
It
Redd.
changes. Trippie
Trippie
Redd.
Redd.
Trippie Redd. Yeah.
Never heard of him.
What happened to like back in the day? I don't know how old y'all are, but back in the day, like the rappers were like big this or big that, and now they're all
Now they're all
Lil.
Lil.
Now they're all Lil.
Yeah.
Well, Ty and I have a deal because he doesn't like to drive, and I don't like to drive because all I've done is drive him everywhere for years. So when he drives, he gets to be the DJ.
Yeah.
Oof, it's rough.
She's not a fan of my
Sometimes
music,
it's
man.
rough.
She's
No.
a hater. She's a
But you
hater.
have good stuff. Like we're
He
going to
has
Salt
good
Lake.
stuff, but then he doesn't always play the good stuff.
It's whatever I'm feeling, all right? I mean, I'm in the driver's seat, okay? So
Yeah,
if
but
I
do you
get
ever
to
let them
DJ
like feel their groove or their music or?
if they're driving.
Oh, okay. So that's the rule.
That's the rule.
That's
much,
pretty.
that's the rule.
That's pretty similar though. We've asked that question a lot to a lot of different riders, and I mean it's all over the place, and it's really mood driven.
Yeah, when
know?
I was driving
and
to
I'm the
Utah-
same way.
Yeah, when I did, we all did shifts going to Utah. So when I was driving to Utah, I'd put on some kind of reggae surf vibes, and I just clocked down the hours. It's just kind of chilled out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's whatever I'm feeling.
yeah. No, I get you, man.
No, I actually agree with you.
I'm right
Seriously, every Tuesday when I go to Taco Tuesday, I put on mariachi in the car.
You gotta get the
No, I'm
vibe
not kidding.
right.
No, I'm kidding you. It's because I'm excited, and I want to get in the vibe. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
No, just don't lie.
Get my mariachi.
I'm
in
not
my-
trying to be funny.
Mariachi.
Add that to your playlist.
Mariachi, I might need that.
Mariachi's great, man.
Mariachi and a Modelo headed to Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the same way though. Like if we're going out on the water for the weekend, go on the boat, we put on some Jimmy Buffett or island music or whatever. and then
Absolutely.
if we're doing something on the property, then you typically go to country. That's usually my go-to.
Right.
But then again, if I'm trying to exercise or do a spin or a run, I'm not going to listen to country.
Yeah.
So
Got
I
some rock. Yeah.
throw on either some rap or rock or whatever gets you going at that time. So that's pretty familiar though. We've had that with quite a few of them. All right, so this one, any specific race rituals or superstitions?
Right knee brace every time. That
First.
one goes first.
Okay.
That one goes first. Then I got to put my right sock on first too. So everything on the right goes on first. That's got to go first.
I did not know that.
I was going to say, Mom and Dad, have you ever
The,
noticed
the
that?
whole shebang at one time. So you have a naked
No,
left
I
leg.
don't.
Oh.
Normally it's right sock first, left sock first, and then
Right
right,
knee
knee brace.
Oh, okay.
left knee brace.
I was like, man, you're just leaving the left leg
But-
out hanging to dry over here.
I'm not a very superstitious guy,
Yeah.
so I'm just like whatever happens, happens. It's not because I didn't eat this and I didn't eat that. It's just how it goes, So, but yeah, my knee braces got to be right first every time.
Anything like pre-race meals, food that you have to have before you ride, or is it just whatever?
It's whatever mom makes, because she makes food on race days. I don't make breakfast on race days. She wakes me up. So
Yeah.
Yes. Race day, a lot of PBJs, I feel like.
yep,
Yeah.
Yep.
That's like his go-to snack, Uncrustables.
dude.
Now, are you talking about yes on Uncrustables or no on Uncrustables?
Yes, Uncrustables.
Oh my God, we've got another one of them.
I could pound like 3 of those a day, dude.
That's his in-between meal snacks.
Yeah.
So in the back of the race hall or in the semi, there's like a little fridge, freezer, kitchen area, whatever. And I usually try to accommodate to the guys, like, hey, what do you guys want, whatever. So we had a specific request for grape Uncrustables.
Oh yeah, best flavor. Yeah.
So I put, one of the, what is it, 10 count or 12 count boxes.
Was that Drew Adams?
Yeah.
That's got to be
definitely
Drew.
Drew.
Yeah.
Definitely
Gotta be
Drew.
Drew.
Absolutely, Drew. It was that, and it was the tricolored goldfish.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
So I put them in the back of the semi, and I put like whatever it is, a 10 or a 12 count box. I don't remember what it comes in. I think they come in like a 4-pack and a 12-pack. So I went and got the 12 packs. I knew we were going to be there for a while. Go open it up the next day, gone.
Yeah, Sam's Club.
Gone.
We got to go Sam's Club.
I'm like,
12-pack don't.
how did
Yeah.
you go through that many?
Well,
So
Drew just started working with a burner, and I don't know if Drew knows this yet, but that diet's changing. Because I went to the river with Burner last weekend, and he was telling me he was working with Drew, and I'm like, oh, he's going to be in for a shock.
Yeah, Drew's a character.
Yeah.
I love that kid.
We've known him for a while. He's good. He's a cool kid.
yeah, that's a super great family, man. Great family. Okay, so we got some of those out of the way. This one is kind of a question for all three of you. Outside of tie racing, are you a fan of the sport? Like, are you guys watching every moto, or are you trying to watch all the highlights? I mean,
Nah, I watch every race.
do you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you watching pre-race show, or are you checking live timing, or is it just kind of like when the main?
I'm the live timing person.
She's lifetime. I'm not so much. I'm on my phone so damn much every day.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
Yeah.
like if I'm out at work, like I don't answer it,
Right.
or I don't want it in my hand. So
Right.
I'm bad about that too.
Yeah.
But,
so you're more of like when the main event comes on, let's watch from.
I'll watch race day live though. I mean, I want to see the because like it's more than tie. Like we're as gotten older, like we know these kids. So
Right.
I want to watch them.
Yeah.
I want to see them.
Yeah,
So-
see how they're doing.
I
And
think
now with Jack, we just started watching the GPs.
Yeah,
We didn't
yeah.
watch those before.
Yeah,
but
with Chambers,
now
we're watching the
all
GPs.
those.
these guys
So-
are gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way I watch it now, I watch it in a different perspective than I would have 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago I'd watch it for entertainment, and now I
Analyze it
I
more?
look at it differently. I'm like,
Yeah.
would I be able to do this, or would I hit this like that, or like where would I end up in this kind of race? Like I kind of picture myself where I would be in that situation more
Yeah.
than just watch it for fun.
All right, so Mom, let's give an honest answer here. How many times did we play back Salt Lake City?
No, I don't think. I think just one time, right?
One time.
One time.
You didn't watch it on repeat on the way back from Salt Lake City?
One time.
Just put it in the past.
No.
One time. Yeah.
Well, I know that
Had a good weekend. All right, let's go move on to the next thing.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Rob and I talked about it too, but they had that so screwed up on
They did.
on the timing.
Yeah.
They did.
You know,
and they just didn't know. They didn't even. We were on the gate, and they were telling because we thought we were screwed. We thought, oh, we're not even going to get anything,
Any airtime.
because we were before everybody. And I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do. And we're on the gate for a practice, and they're telling us like, hey guys, we got a special second show. We took a lot of work. Make sure you post it up, tell everyone to watch, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't even know what to tell everyone to watch because I can't find it.
Yeah.
Like he said there was 2 shows and we had no clue. So they didn't even tell us what
Yeah.
it was. So
I think when I turned it on, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know if you watched it back or not, but I think when I turned it on, the gate had already dropped.
I think it was about to. It was
Yeah.
like right
Right
it just
on the
like it just
dot.
like cued in on it.
It started,
Yes.
and there was like, boom, they're going. I was
Yeah.
like, no intro, no nothing. But, it's you don't know about the TV packages. I mean, I can't really talk to the TV packages because, we're not in the TV trailers to see what happens. But I know last year when we were in Salt Lake, because it was the finale and they crowned, the Futures champion, it was during the night show. I mean, it was like in the middle of the night show.
And I think last year they did it. Last year, if I remember right, they did not maybe Salt Lake, but the other Futures races. They did those like this one, like at the begin, like on before the event, or maybe like it was early. Like they only aired highlight.
Yeah, I think at Atlanta they did the Futures during race day live.
During race day live.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They did them early last year, but this year every other one every other one up to Salt Lake, they put them in the middle of the motos.
Yeah.
We were like in Jersey, we were after the heats, and then the Triple Crowns, they were after
One of the first or second motos.
Yeah, they were like in the middle of the yes. Maybe they went through 2, and then they did so they got in the middle of the show.
So then
this
you get
was
all
different.
you get all the way to the finale, expecting to be like right before the mains,
Yep.
when the most people are going to be watching,
And it's different.
and you drove 43 hours to get there.
And the pit is like a mile plus away.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they know.
Oh,
We
yeah.
talked about that.
God
yeah.
dang, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
But
did
he got
it.
a fresh track, so you can't really complain. Going
Yeah.
first, you got to.
Well, it was also wet.
Yeah, it was wet in the race too. Like it was wet every time I went out there.
Well,
It was wet.
At least they did end up showing it. You know, I know it wasn't ideal the way
Right.
that it kind of came out, but at least you did get the air.
I'm just glad it wasn't one of those like recaps, like where it's like showed like half a lap in the top 3, and then here's a list of where everyone finished. You know.
Yeah.
So I think it's better than what it could have been.
Yeah, well, we had quite a few people watching it from down here too, and I mean, I know I talked to you guys on the way back, and I think was it the last lap you were up in 8th,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, so I was going through the tunnel on the last lap, and I had someone behind me for about 2 laps or so, and I think I was fine. Like I would have got 8th, and went down in the tunnel right in front of me, and I had to like swerve to avoid him because he fell. He fell on the right side and fell to the left, and the corner went to the left. So his body also went to the left, and he fell right in front of my front tire. So I slammed my brakes and like swerved around him, and then I guess the kid behind me just like had enough time to react and just like jumped his bike or something, dude, and just he was able to get the rhythm next to me, and yeah. So it was unfortunate, but
yeah, but let's look at big picture here. You go P9, so you top 10 at 15 years old in the finale of the Supercross Futures. Mm-hmm. We got to be happy about
I'm
that.
stoked. Yeah, it's super cool. It's super cool to me. I mean, I thought it was great.
Well, that's awesome. So we're going to continue to follow that along tight. Name the people off that are helping you now that you want to help, the people that have gotten you to this point so far. Obviously, mom and dad, but besides mom and dad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like to thank Active. They're my biggest supporters right now. They really, I mean, I haven't paid for a set of gear yet, which is really awesome. I mean, he texts me every 2 weeks or so. He's like, yo, do you need new stuff? Blah, blah, blah. So he's really awesome. I love those guys. Everyone at Moto Sandbox, I've been there for a long time. They're super cool, always inviting us there. Like, they're very nice people. Stacy and Jason, I appreciate them very much. Always got great tracks. Like, their facility is insane. So,
Yep.
Everyone, Dale, thank you. Always getting us graphics, always in nick of time too. If we want this, he'll get them there. Yeah, those are our main guys. And then, of course, my dad for mechanicking for me, and my mom for making food and getting us out there. And yeah, and especially Jason, the new one. Every race, we have a nice payout. So, yeah, he's really hooked us up too. Gives us a nice place to ride too. So.
And Daddy's work.
Yeah, and his work. His work helps us pay for gas to get out there. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's good to hear. Not that we're trying to stop on the Thai train, but that's a little bit of the Thai backstory and what we go to. But now, as fans of the sport, pro motocross is getting ready to start.
Yep.
So we're getting ready to come this season. I had a little bit of knowledge of it that we weren't allowed to talk about, and then he posted it today.
Well, we're trying to do that on Sunday.
We tried, but Coop is in.
He's in.
So we thought he was going to be out 6 to 8 weeks after a nasty, very awkward Nashville crash that we all were there to witness, and thought that he was going to miss, probably the first half of the outdoor season. Went through some testing last week. Everything checked out fine. We tried to have him on the podcast on Sunday, but unfortunately it didn't map out. He puts out there on Instagram today, so we are allowed to say it. And I know it's already old news now because it's social media, but I think it's cool. He's going to race the whole season. To go from where he was at, laying on the ground in Nashville, to being able to make it to round 1, I like it.
Yeah.
You not so much.
No, I mean, no, I like these racing, but I mean, are we talking about like, is he going to go out there and crush it?
I don't expect him to go out there and crush it. I mean, he hasn't been on the bike since Nashville. So, I mean, all these other guys have, and they've been, worried about outdoor testing. I mean, going into Nashville, he was still worried about Supercross.
I think he'll come to his own here shortly, but it's going to take a
couple
minute.
rounds.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fairly depleted 450 field.
Yeah, that's true.
Fairly depleted. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a lot because you got guys coming back, like Ferrandis is back, and now you got Jet jumping up to the 450. I think that's going to be a big surprise to people. I'm saying that. I'm not knocking anybody else, but I think Jet is going to surprise a lot of people on the 450.
Are we kind of doing like our predictions straight up or what? What are
I'm
we
just
doing?
saying that I'm excited for the season, Shane.
Oh, I am too.
I'm just saying I'm excited.
I don't know where to watch it on TV, but I'm excited that it's happening.
Yeah, I haven't even looked
Well,
at
that's
that.
always a question.
We never know.
It's
Never
always a
know.
question. It might be on 3 different channels,
Yeah.
2 different channels. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at that part yet.
It's
Yeah.
easier to watch MXGP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swear to God.
Yeah.
It records on our thing automatically. Like to watch Jack, it's like I just come home Sunday and it's
What
on
is
there.
that? What is it on?
It's I don't even know what channel, but they've been recorded on my thing for so long that we didn't used to always watch every one of them. But now that Jack's there, but I always saw him, MotoGP. It's it's on DirecTV, one of the channels. They still air it.
Yeah.
It's
Well, we'll have to look into
Yeah.
that.
They used to just collect on our DVR. We'd
yeah,
have, like so.
yeah.
many
We'd have so
races.
many GPs, and never really. I might watch 1 or 2, but like now I watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ty, are you going to be watching any of the outdoors?
Oh yeah, I'm watching every one, dude.
So who is your go-to guy in the 450s? I mean, is it got to be KR because you ride with him out there at the box?
Kenny's a beast. He's a beast. I think he's definitely in the run for a couple races. I don't think he's going to dominate. I mean, I don't think anyone can dominate unless like Tomac like 5 years ago, whatever, 2015 I think that was.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will replicate that. But yeah, I think either I've got Ken. Yeah, he's solid. Chase solid.
Yeah.
Both really fast dudes. So
Yeah, and then you got Ferrandis coming
Oh,
back, who's also
Ferrandis.
chilling.
Ferrandis
You
is
know,
going to be definitely a
fast.
threat.
And he's been worried about outdoors for a while now because he didn't come back when he could have to the end of Supercross season, and they said no, we're just going to focus on outdoors. So, your number one plate there.
and I think Jed will give them a run for their money too.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, he's got it in him for sure.
All right, so bounce over to the 250s. Who's on the 250 side?
Vial.
Really?
That's who I've got.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's a different pick, but
Yeah.
He's MotoGP, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's a GP guy.
I didn't think about that one.
He's here for motocross. The Supercross was just a warm up.
And which he didn't do bad in
Yeah, no,
Supercross.
he did really good.
I thought it did amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah, I thought about that the other day. And I'm like, I can't wait to see this guy on the outdoor track.
He's a beast. Yeah, I think he's gonna be super solid.
well, I think there's quite a few guys that are going to be up there. I mean, I think obviously Hunter, he's got to be one of the front runners.
For sure.
Nobody can forget about Shimoda. Shimoda got second in the championship last year. And then obviously our Florida boy, RJ Hampshire. He's already
RJ's going to do good.
Yeah, he's kind of built for outdoors. I mean, he's done really well at outdoors, and being a Florida guy and the Florida tracks that he grew up racing and stuff, I think RJ's going to be good outdoors. And fortunate enough to have him on one of our earlier episodes, so I'm going to be rooting for him. Hunter, definitely can't forget about Shimoda. Can't rule out Deegan either. I mean, Deegan had a great Supercross. I ended up second in his series, so I mean that's impressive.
He's gonna have a lot of podiums. I feel.
Yeah.
We have too many friends now. So, I've always had a lot of friends, but like now we know too many people, even people that we've just met. And so it's like, I don't want to say anything. So I just like, I think everybody's good. Everybody's going to have a great season.
We're all winning.
Very PC.
I think everybody has the capability of winning.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of good guys, but I mean, it is unfortunate to see, when you've got people like Anderson and Barsha and Tomac out of the series, you always want to see them in it and being competitive just because it makes great racing for all of us as a fan.
It's
of the
exciting,
sport.
man.
I thought this year's Supercross has been the best on 250s and 450s I've seen in a long time, except for the end. I was, I was super
when
bummed.
you lost some guys.
Yeah, but like,
there was like
the
two factors.
racing and the different winners and like the battles that I saw this year was probably the best I've seen in a long time.
This year was the most excited I've ever been to watch Supercross.
It was good.
Every weekend I was like, oh, I can't wait for Supercross.
It was really
Come on
good.
tonight.
Yeah. Well, hopefully people can enjoy watching a good battle in outdoors too for the guys that are returning, and we get in a tight points race through the outdoor season, so that'll be fun to see. As far as the team goes right now, Aiden's back on the bike. He's been riding, I think, on the bike now 2 weeks, so first round for him is going to be High Point, and then I think the weekend after that's Redbud, so two fun tracks for him to come back and start his outdoor series. We just picked up the Caleb Groves. Anybody that's been watching us on the Instagram, he's going to represent us some in the amateur stuff and do a bit of a run, very much similar to families and working. I mean, this is a kid that has a full-time job. He works for Irby Construction, and he's out there putting in work, Monday through Friday, and he's only riding once, maybe twice a week. And he's going to go out and have some fun in some amateur racing right now in the pro sport class and college boy. And, just have fun with it, man. And, you know, that's what I'd like to try and keep into it. And that's kind of leading me into my final questions of the episode. And this is more for mom and dad. The level of trying to keep it fun versus serious and training. How do you manage to try and put that stuff in there? I mean, is there a day where you're like, you know what, today let's go play golf or do something? I mean, how do you try and keep it fun and keep it interesting?
I mean, I think for Ty, it's always, it's got to be a balance of that, you know, with other things involved. That's him, you know, like we need to, like beach or surf or golf or, you know, all those things are involved.
Yeah.
How do I pick? I mean, we pick our ride days by either what the work schedule's like, what the week schedule's like,
Weather.
Yeah. I mean, that dictates the ride days.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. And then when they're home, it's, you know, he's like, you know, if he's home for a few days, it'll be gym or, you know, he'll do a road ride or, I mean, I'm never there. You know, I haven't been the only time I've been to Sandbox in the last probably 8 months is to swap a refrigerator in the camper that went bad. So, and when they're home, I'm not there much either. You know, I'm just gone during the days. So they kind of set that, but I think Ty does a good job of balancing. He kind of runs honestly, like we don't drive that shit.
Yeah.
He does.
So you're not like, hey, get up at this time, be in the gym at this time, be on the track at this time.
No.
Okay.
I just do it all myself.
No, I'm not.
That's pretty good though. That's a little bit of self-motivation. It's good.
I'm pretty, you know, like I'm very like particular with like what I want my stuff to be, but like we don't get into that.
Yeah.
Like that. So.
Mom, you agree?
I agree. Sorry, I'm having a coughing fit.
No problem. So
we always wanted it to be fun for him. Like when he was younger, you know, we didn't want to push him too far or be that training facility kid at 4 years old. Like we didn't want to burn him out too quick. I think we've done a pretty good job about that.
Yeah, and he's got I feel like it benefits him. I feel like kids come up, some of the kids get very just into that. And I don't think they get out and do enough different things.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes, not all, you know, everything's different, but I feel like he's picked up a lot of different skill sets along the way, different stuff.
It seems like he's very mature, which congratulations to you guys, and self-disciplined.
Yeah.
You know, that's awesome.
I think it's kind of a necessity.
Very well spoken as well, you know. Like
I think you have to be to do what we do. Like they have to grow up early.
Well, and it's
a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
That's kind of be leading into my next question is, as parents looking at this sport, specifically at Ty's age or younger, is there anything that you think that would be beneficial for change or something that would help maybe parents with amateur riders coming up or getting to the point that he's at now? I mean, what's your thoughts on the state of the sport itself?
I think it's just, to me, it's overly demanding on parents, and it's overwhelming for people who don't. I didn't know anything about, none of us did. We didn't grow up doing it. Some of the parents did, and they understand what's involved. I did not.
Right.
So we trial by fire, learn, talk, you know, luckily we've met some nice people along the way and they helped us.
Sure.
But I feel like, to me, as a general, like you look at this thing and you look at the schedule and what the amateur races that, you know, they quote unquote expect you to do, and you're like you said, how did they do it?
Right.
That's the reaction I think you would get.
Yeah.
You know, we're seasoned to it now. It's, you know, it doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah.
But for newer people, to me, that's something that might be a deterrent, you know? So I would say maybe somehow focus more, you know, like more quality over quantity. You know, if you, like, we started going to more of the fun stuff, like the verb races and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, well, you mentioned you did Day in the Dirt over.
Oh yeah,
Texas,
that was
right?
awesome.
I mean, that's such a fun event.
Day in the Dirt,
it's like the best,
you know,
race of the
and
year.
Day in the Dirt for me, I want to real quick on that one because
That killed
like,
you.
yeah, that one kind of, you know, like it's like a dad moment where you're like you got to let it go, but you're you kind of like got to hold your tongue, because it was one of the GP races. Again, it's like a glorified pit bike race, you know. Like, I mean, it's kind of no rules. Like they're doing what they want to do out there, you know.
Yeah.
They're cutting 20 seconds of the track through the woods, and you know what I mean. It's just, that's what's going on, and that's fine. You know, it's fun. It's all good.
Oh yeah.
But he's in one of the GPs. He's winning, like he's leading, you know. So I saw this coming. Here come Nick, active guy that helps him, right?
Thomas-Unis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ty caught him. So Ty lapped him. So he gets up next to him. They and I see them. They're right next to each other going into the barn. I was like, they're going to stop and do a damn burnout. I know they are. I know they're going to do it. Sure as shit. He does it. Next thing you know, comes out like in fourth or something. You know, like the next three guys come behind him. I'm like, but you know, like, so you're like, you want it to be.
But that's the fun of the event.
But that's the fun of the event. But the other part of you that, you know, doesn't want to give up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, so
you were in the lead, dude.
You have to balance that out. But it was all good. Like, we treated it like fun. We left it like that. It's all good. Like, no harm, no foul, you know. But like, it was just one of those deals where you're like, really?
Ty said, totally worth it.
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
I'd do it every day if I had to.
Yeah, well, we actually just because of budget and the drive time and everything, you know, that race that weekend was Indianapolis, and we chose to go
to Day in the Dirt. I thought it was cool
because it's so much fun, and you know, it's
Yeah.
local for us being in Florida, and I mean, obviously budget wise with fuel and driver and everything, I mean, it made more financial sense for us to go to Day in the Dirt, and it's a 3-day party. I mean, it's a fun event.
And I mean, there's nowhere else you can be. I mean, when I got to the fence and took some videos, I was like, oh my God, you know, with the, you know, your speed is sign going 70 miles an hour, you know, on one wheel down that freaking road. I was like, that's pretty sick.
Dude, I clocked the wheelie like every time I went down that road. I popped that thing up every lap.
Again, part of the fun of the event.
Yeah.
So trying to wrap it up here as far as the questions for you guys, how do you feel about social media management, like rider personality management, stuff like that? I mean, do you feel the pressure of trying to keep up with some of that stuff?
It's all him.
He's good at that.
We're not involved.
That up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do all the Instagram posts. I do all my TikTok posts, you know, all that stuff. I do it, so.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot though.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about like sponsors, you know,
I know.
expectations, followers now matter so much. I mean, and people don't really understand it, but I mentioned before the episode, you know, we got to fly out to A2. We got treated like royalty by a lot of our sponsors that are in California, and getting to walk around with them and talk to them about things that stand out to them. I mean, yes, results at the end of the day, results is number one, but so close to results right behind them now is, you know, personality, how well you can speak, your social media management, how well you interview. What you're wearing off the track is just as important how you look on the track. I mean, there's so much to it. I mean, do you guys see or have any of that, you know?
Oh, we have those conversations like off the track. Wear a shirt.
Yeah.
I don't like shirts.
Doesn't like shirts.
Dude, if I'm sweaty and covered in dirt after a moto, the last thing I want to do is put a shirt on, but I'm working on it. I'm
And
starting
I'll
to
check
do more.
his, like, he'll do a TikTok, and I'm like, nope, can't use that song.
Yeah.
Nope, that song's, nope, we're not there
Every
yet.
time I do an Instagram post, I'm like, guys, I need a caption.
Yeah.
And they try and help me out. I usually never use their captions
Never
because
will use
they're a bit corny for me. They just, especially
Well,
his.
but you're right, and even Abby. I mean, when you talk about your off the track presence, you know, your pit presence, when you're at, you know, your rig and your camper, you know, making sure that, you know, that area is presentable. You know, if someone was to come by and approach you, or even one of your sponsors is passing by and just kind of looking in your area, you know, having a shirt on, wearing a team hat, stuff like that. I mean, it's so critical. You know, we talked about it. I think it was actually when we came back, we were on the flight back from Anaheim High 2, and we were talking about putting up like either a segment or a little bit of an educational class or seminar to try and help riders, you know, with understanding how important that stuff is, and little things like that, you know, having a shirt on, wearing the brand of the people that support you. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're getting support by a certain company, like let's use Dale Hutto, you know, with Bulletproof Shade, you don't want to be walking around the pit area with a shirt on that says Decal Works.
Yeah.
I mean, that should be common sense
course.
stuff, but
Yeah,
people
of course.
don't think about it. And I see it all the time. You know, there's a kid or somebody that's getting a sponsorship from, you know, somebody, and it might not even be a huge sponsorship, but any little thing helps in this sport. Even a discount program is huge in this sport. So if you're getting that discount or sponsorship, no matter the level, and then you go out and wear a competitive brand, well, why would they want to give it to you?
I agree 100%.
Or why would they continue giving it to you? So that's always been very important for me. So I'm glad that you're at least monitoring and, you know, seeing, you know, music choice and what you say and what you do and how you act. And I mean, I think it was Minio's last year or the year before, where there was a rider that punched one of the security guards and got kicked out of the event.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
at the Sidewinder race,
I was
we were
there.
right there.
and I'm
watched
like,
it.
so imagine if that's your rider, you know, that you're sponsoring and supporting, and then the press that he's getting out of that. Do you really want that affiliated with a brand? Because even from our standpoint, right? So if you're a rider for Future Max, you are representing our brand. So everything you do, both on the track with your riding, whether it's aggressive or whatever, that's one thing. But what you do off the track is just as important.
Right.
So when you realize that you're a brand ambassador and you're representing that brand, whatever you do is a light back on us too.
Yeah.
And I try to explain that to people all the time. And that's probably one of the things that I spend a lot of time on at the actual races, at the track, is talking to people about that stuff. You know, hey, make sure you got your shirt on when you go outside. Make sure you're wearing a team hat or a sponsor hat. Even if it's not the team hat, wear, you know, Drew Adams, for example, Monster. Put your Monster hat on before you walk outside. He's very good about doing that. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not knocking him in any way, but I'm using that as an example. So
Yeah.
I wear a shirt now because of him. I used to walk around everywhere without a shirt, and he's like, dude, you can't hang out with me without a dang shirt on.
that's not because of sponsorship.
Yeah, I'm not sponsored. Just put your shirt on, Shane.
We did have to learn a little on the Jersey Futures race. Caught us off guard. I didn't expect anyone in the pits to be like coming over to us.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. We're like out in the middle of nowhere, and
Oh, yeah.
so we were unprepared for any, you know, autographs,
Fan interaction.
But there were quite a few, and we're like,
Yeah.
wow, you know. So for you, and Utah was a different scenario, but we were more prepared. We brought some posters, we bought some stuff to give to the kids, and you know, like stuff like that. But it was just definitely caught us off guard at Jersey.
Yeah, I remember.
Hey, it still catches me off guard to this day. When we went to Tampa, I didn't expect, you know, you don't really know how many to get, how many to order, how many you're going to give away. So the only time that we really had a bunch of interaction like that before was Salt Lake City last year, or then earlier this year before Tampa was only, I think Houston was the only round that we did. And then it went Houston, Tampa, Dallas, Daytona.
Okay.
But Houston, we were similar setup to Salt Lake City. We were pretty far back in the pits. We went there in a Sprinter van or a little enclosed trailer. Didn't have the full-size semi. Again, budget stuff, trying to map out where we can put the funds to get the truck to. Well, then Tampa, you come in with a full-size semi, awning, local race for both the guys this year, Cole and Aiden.
People come in.
We went through every poster we had.
Everything
I
you had.
ordered 100 posters of each guy, and I figured we would go through 20. Nope, went through everyone. Had to place another order after Tampa before we went to Daytona. Got to Daytona, went through everyone in Daytona.
Yep.
I was blown away. But at the same time, that's good.
It's a good
I mean,
thing.
when you're giving that stuff out, all your sponsors are on those posters.
Yeah.
That poster is now on some kid's wall in his room. That's great.
It's a good thing. We're just unprepared. You know, it
Yeah.
was just,
Well,
you know,
that's
not
a
what we were
lesson
thinking
learned.
about, you know.
It kind of makes sense though, because like I remember being a kid going to Speedway, the Speedway motorcycle racing,
Yep.
and you know, I didn't know who the heck these guys were.
Yeah.
But as a little kid, I got into the pits and I was just like, I want to meet every one of them. I
Yeah.
don't know who these
Well,
dudes are.
and there's no
I
line-
think they're all
not waiting
movie
in
stars,
line.
you know? Yeah.
I think the thing that catches me off guard the most is having a Sharpie.
Yes, we added
didn't have
some more
one.
Sharpies.
Yeah. Well, especially what definitely caught me off guard was back to what you were saying earlier about like having an area like where no one can go. This one chick
Oh my God.
comes in our tent. Like we just have a Sprinter in a tent, obviously outside, and then my bike's just under the tent in the middle, just on a stand. You know, this chick comes running up, hops on the bike, like sits on the
She
bike.
said, "You need a mechanic," and
Yeah.
she propped her leg up on the
Yeah.
bike.
And I was-
Dad was ever,
it was like a
get the heck off that bike.
it was a group
I didn't
of
say
like
anything.
6 of them.
Dad, where was Mama Bear, dude?
Oh, she was trying to punch the
I
girl.
was making food in the van. Yes, somebody took a picture. They're like, "Oh my God, thank God you weren't out here."
I was
dying."
like, what? Like they just came out of nowhere, just hopped straight on the bike. I
At
was
the
like,
same time, though, dads, you know, and their boy, you know,
Well, then
Hey, bud.
she's like, how old? Then she's like, how old are you? And he's like, 15. You're 15?
yeah.
She felt mildly inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It was pretty
Left
funny.
Quickly.
She got her picture though, so
she got her picture.
it's all good.
Well, that's experiences that all get built up. But Ty, I know right now on your Insta you got over 4,000 followers right now.
Yep.
What was that Instagram handle one more time?
Tyler Mollet 20.
Tyler Mollet 20.
Yes, sir.
On Insta and similar on TikTok.
TikTok, it's the same thing. Yep.
Okay,
Tyler
so
Mollet 20.
if anybody wants to find you on any of those social media platforms, Tyler Mollet 20.
Yep.
And then this episode we'll have up here in a couple days, and look at it on Spotify, Apple Podcast, our YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing to any of those platforms. Anything else that we want to add or finish up with? Anything you got, Ty? We got your regional coming up. Dad Rob, Mom Abby, anything to wrap it up here? Thanks to all
Thanks
the
for having
Yeah,
us.
thanks.
sponsors
yeah, thanks for
that you
having
that
us.
you mentioned and brought up.
Yep, thanks to all of them. I mean, they do a lot for us. They get us where we are today. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we're going to keep an eye on you and go through this process too. And then
Yeah,
Sugar,
sure.
anything else you got? Episode 29.
I just want to thank you guys for coming on too.
Yeah.
We've never done a family like this, and it's eye opening. Everybody's deal's different. And it's super cool, and you guys are doing a very fine job with your young man here.
We do
Yeah.
try.
Very
Appreciate
cool,
it, man.
Yeah, and a nice hike for you guys to get up here to the Legends Room. So we
Yeah,
appreciate
this poor
you
guy had to drive so far.
Yeah,
making time out of your
it's all right.
making time out of your day to come do it. But
He's a beast.
TC, anything else you got?
Nothing.
Oh, thanks for that.
Come on, TC, add some flavor.
Thanks for that.
Tickle Tyler, we have contests. I'm just going to throw it out there. Sorry, Tyler, but we have contests to give
All right,
away.
thanks everybody. Good show.
Make sure you look at the YouTube video from Munden Hill.
Munden Hill.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Episode 29, wrapping her up.